Humanity is shared in the world, and life on it continues to justly share its natural resources between nations. Sharing is the word that reflects the story of the occupied homeland, and it's certainly one of the hundreds of stories that the most important, because it tells the story of life, the story of water. Water security is the basis for building the future of the state of Palestine as a viable state. The international community is persuaded on this fact too. The United Nations General Assembly adopted by an overwhelming majority. Several resolutions affirm the right of the Palestinian people to sovereignty over their natural resources, including water. Through its policies, Israel illegally exercises sovereign rights over Palestinian natural resources, which constitutes an infringement on the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination. The human right to water entitles everyone to sufficient, safe, acceptable, physically accessible, and affordable water for personal and domestic uses. It's recognized as a component of the right to an adequate standard of living. The core of the story is here. Since Israel continues denying this human right for Palestinians, this relies with Israel's strategy to add more source of suffering to the Palestinians' daily life. In 1995, as part of Oslo Accords, the two sides signed an interim agreement. Annex the 3rd, Article 40 of that agreement dealt with water, allocating water resources of a period of 5 years, at which point the water issue was to be resolved as part of the permanent status agreement. Over 20 years after the interim agreement was subject to termination, water availability for Palestinians has decreased, while the Palestinian population has doubled. Israel's policies have laid the foundations of water apartheid. It has exerted considerable military and political efforts to maintain and consolidate exclusive access to Palestinian water resources of the sole benefit of Israel's, including illegal settlers. As one of its daily restrictions, Israel actively prevents the construction and maintenance of water infrastructure in more than 60% of the West Bank, earmarked Area C. This has primarily been achieved through the systematic denial of permits for any construction or rehabilitation of water infrastructure imposed through the Joint Water Committee. Israeli settlers are not required to obtain a permit, and unlike Palestinian communities, all settlements in the occupied Palestine territories are connected to a water network. Israel violates the international water and humanitarian laws by refusing fair sharing and insisting of inequality of the water supply. Israel's requisitions of water subsequently allocated to settlers constitute a double illegality. The statistics indicate that the Palestinian need for drinking water only will reach 260 million cubic meters by the year 2026. If the allocated quantities to Palestinian remains as is, Palestinian government will not be able to meet more than 50% of this basic need. Through the extensive deprivation of water, Israel has made it nearly impossible for some Palestinians to remain in their communities and has effectively forced the transfer of the protected population from their homes. According to the international reports, at year 2020, Gaza will not be viable, since 97% of water there is invalid for drinking purposes. The water present in the coastal basin has been drained. Children are susceptible to a plethora of illness because of the water pollution. If there is no quick solution, there will be a forced migration of over 2 million citizens. The urgency of the situation cannot be underestimated. While talking about sharing water, it's an urgent need from the international community to support the rights of the Palestinian people relating to access to water and adequate sanitation as a fundamental human rights guaranteed. To achieve these goals, Israel should enable the Palestinians to access water from shared natural resources fairly and equitably to allow Palestinians to live a normal life.